My favorite quote, it's from Mike Tyson. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth or something like that. You don't know how, you don't know when, you don't know who, but nothing will go the way you've planned it. And it's just your ability to continue to stay focused and just try to do what you have in mind and go with everything that goes on the way.
This is Next Gen Builders, the show for the growth and product leaders of tomorrow. You know, there's different ways to build a product, and one of them is M&A or buying other companies. You can scale through acquisitions, but it's not always as easy as it may seem. How do you make one product out of many? How do you actually make an acquisition work? How do you combine the teams or enter new territories and serve different cultures? It's pretty complicated, but it's extremely powerful. With us today is someone who's not only scaling, but doing it at a global level. Damien Delautier is a product leader at CANAL+. Damien, welcome to the show.
Hi, Francois. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So great to have you here.
Me too.
Now, maybe as we start, can you tell us a little bit about your background? How'd you end up at CANAL+?
So I ended up at CANAL+ 5 years ago, but I've done many things before that. Basically, I work in the product management field since, I would say, 15 plus years now. I had position in startups, big corporates, but I am in the I would say, the video streaming product industry since more than 8 years now, because before CANAL+, that I've joined 5 years ago, as mentioned, I work for a company called Molotov TV. I don't know if you heard about it, but it has made quite some noise in France when it has been launched for 3 years. So basically, Molotov plus CANAL+ makes more than 8 years in the streaming industry.
That's amazing. Now, not everybody may know who CANAL+ is, and you have to say CANAL+.
CANAL+, yes, this is the way I will say it.
Yes. Tell us a little bit about the company.
CANAL+, as you have to say, it has been created in 1984. So it's a 14 years old company. I mentioned that because since 1984, we are CANAL+ with the plus. So we'll say that we are the first one to have used the plus for the streaming platform. But yes, when it has been created in 1984, of course, it was not a streaming platform. It was a TV channel. It was the first paying channel available in France, even in Europe, I think, but at least in France. It has become pretty quickly very big, very famous in France because it has created some very iconic programs. So some of the programs that has been created 20, 30 years ago are considered as like part of the French pop culture. There is a very big program that's been created by CANAL+. Since 1994, of course, CANAL+ has had many lives, but now we can say that we are a producer, a broadcaster, a distributor, and an aggregator of content. I can explain every aspect, but basically, we have a streaming platform that we try to have something very extensive, and so we provide live, on-demand, paying content. And we have many offers that package everything you can imagine on the market.
That's fascinating because I think there's a lot of interesting facets here, going from being known for doing one thing and then expanding into these categories. So there's category expansion or portfolio management, and then you guys are also going beyond just the French market and expanding to other countries. Yeah. Can you tell us a little bit, like think about all of that? How do you think about how CANAL is actually growing, and what is that growth strategy?
We are, I would say, at a very pivotal moment of the company. So I've joined the company 5 years ago, and I have to manage a product that was, I would say, mainly done for France, basically. And since then, the idea was to provide this product to other countries that were part of CANAL+. And we're in a new moment of the company where actually we have a very ambitious CEO that says that in the 5 next years, he wants us to be in the top 5, world top 5 of the streaming platforms, with roughly it will mean like 100 million users on 3 continents, Europe, Africa, and Asia. And the idea to get there is to grow by acquiring companies. So we are, I would say, developing a model that is quite different from our competitors. We have started buying companies. Some of them, maybe you know them, but basically we are about to purchase, or we have already done it, companies in Europe, in Asia, in Africa. And It's already companies that perform a streaming service. So this is what you were mentioning. Actually, the idea now is to how do we make one single product that is distributed all over the world, and this product has to be made out of all those companies. So by companies, I mean the people inside, the technology inside also those companies. And this is where we are now. We are trying to get there. So we are at the very, very beginning of the journey. We have the vision. We know what we want to do. And now we are just trying to get there. So I think it will take a few years to get there because it's a very ambitious one. And it's not that easy actually to when you start to work with a new company and because it also acquiring company means that there is already something existing. The people are already working on the platform. The customer are already also using this platform. So the idea is how do you manage that? How do you not break what already works? And how do you try to create something that is better actually? That's the only way to succeed basically. It should be better at the end. Because this is what I already see at the moment is that when you have something already a product, some of them are already very good. I mean, when you see some of the product of the company we are purchasing, like there is nothing to change. I mean, it works. So how do you convince people that with providing a new product and working together, we will do at the end something better? And that's not easy. But this is what we are trying to do at the moment.
Do you mind double clicking on that? So you're acquiring a company that has an existing product that probably duplicates some of the same functionality that you have in another market. Let's start on the technology side and we'll talk about the people side next. But on the technology side, how do you go about choosing? Do you choose? Do you keep multiple similar technologies going? And how do you make that choice of which one will become standard versus more having a constellation or a mosaic of technologies that you bring together?
We went through several thinking and we are still learning about what to do. The original version was very simple and saying that one product, one tech stack, and at the end we need to select which one and just go with that. It's not that easy. It's not that feasible, actually. So the idea is more to understand what are the strengths and weaknesses of every platform. You said we will discuss about people after, but I will do it now, actually, because tech is not the issue. It's more about which skills do we have and do we identify everywhere in the world, and how do we distribute, I would say, the product. Streaming platform is not... You can still innovate, but the big innovation has already made. It was the streaming itself. That was the innovation. Now it's more about just maintaining a topic, and we know how to grow. We know how to make people watch their content. That's not... well, we know how to do it. And we are not the only one. The company that we are purchasing, they know how to do it also. So it's more about finding who is the best at what and trying to distribute, as I mentioned, the products and to build a team like that, because for sure it takes a lot of resources to make a streaming platform works in the world. It's about identifying who's the best in what and distribute this tech. The tech, we are building it, actually. We are just... it's just not the same technology, sometimes are different, but basically we are doing the same thing. So it's more about how to distribute things and to make things work globally.
That's interesting, because instead of saying what is the right technology to bring together, you're actually thinking of what is the right people and how do you leverage the best of their skills versus just what is the best technology at hand.
Yeah, because when you look at the iOS developers, I mean, they are as good in France as everywhere, somewhere else in the world. They are all skilled. So it's more who is the best at iOS, for instance, and we say, okay, iOS will be done here because we have the best people. And how do we can deploy the other resources somewhere else? iOS, Android, that's the easy things to understand, but we have already on the back end side, we have very specific technologies, very I would say things that are very difficult to manage. And yeah, it's about finding who the best here and what makes more sense, actually.
When you think about the people, change management, especially in an acquisition, is always complicated. How do you enlist them in the new mission and get them motivated to work maybe where they were working on a local scale, now they're going to be working on a global scale and impacting a different level of both complexity and impact?
Maybe we should schedule a new podcast in 1 year so that I will be able to tell you what happened, because this is what I'm trying to do now. I'm at the very beginning of the journey. I have some convictions. It starts by just meeting the people, knowing them, understanding who they are, what they want to do, where they are good at, and trying to build a vision on that. The vision actually is quite easy. We want the same product everywhere. We are all convinced by that, but it's how do we get there that it's very difficult. Especially, as you can imagine, we have as many product teams as the company that we are acquiring. Some of them I've met them. Some of them I haven't met them yet because we are still dealing with them and I'm not allowed to discuss with them. So the thing is just trying to understand everybody, understanding what it means having a product in Asia, in Africa, but even in Europe. I'm in France. I'm based in France. I know Europe, but actually there is as many culture and differences depending on the country of Europe. That's the same everywhere, actually. Africa, Asia, everybody, each country is different. So you have to understand that, to meet them, and to try to understand what they want to do, how they envision themselves. And yeah, sometimes you can find people that you see that they will fit in what you want to build. Sometimes you see that they are just afraid of what will happen. And I can totally understand that because I know that I'm on the right side of the barrier. I'm the one who has to create the products and identify who can be there or not. And the idea is to try to understand all of that. It's just about, also you meet some people, they have their own personal agenda, I would say. They have their career, their things that they want to do, they don't want to do anymore. I see also it in my team, actually. We are talking about the others, but in my team. So when I've joined the company, we were building a product for France, basically, one country. And I see now that some people, they just don't see it. They just don't want to do it. Like, that's not, I'm not criticizing them. That's okay. You may want another project. But you can see that people, they were very good at something, and now they don't see themselves in this vision. So I would say it's about understanding all of that. Yeah, it's just about human, I would say. It's everybody is skilled, everybody knows how to, especially a product like streaming platform. I mean, we know what we want to do, how to do it. It's just about finding the right people and trying to build something that makes sense. Even one last point on that, I say something that makes sense because, to be honest, the way my team will grow, it's because I will have, for instance, product managers in Poland, in Luxembourg, or in Asia, or whatever. I don't know if it makes sense. I don't know if it's the right way to do it. I will try. I'm used today, for instance, to have all the product manager on the same office in Paris. Now, tomorrow, we will have product managers in Poland, I would say in Vietnam. Does it make sense? Is it feasible? Let's talk about it in 1 year. But for sure, this is what we will do. This is what we will try to do to make something that makes sense and where people seems okay with it. And let's try it.
Yeah, and you learn. But this is one of the things I've really appreciated about you is, you start always with the human connection. You think about the people and what's the impact on culture, their skills, but also how do you lead now a distributed team. People are all over the place, right? And it is a different way of managing and leading when you do have people all over the place. How do you actually bring that human connection in a distributed world? Have you found kind of like some techniques to make that easier to happen?
There is one very easy one, I would say, but expensive. It's just to meet people, to see them, to just travel. So I'm traveling quite a lot since a few months now. And there is, it makes all the difference. Like to just meet the people, to just see them, have some meetings with them, and just maybe having a drink or whatever, a dinner with them. That makes all the difference because after when you come back, you know them. So having a team meeting, Teams meeting is totally different once you have already met them. And that's my manager actually. That I didn't know how to create connections, and my manager actually told me that we will go there and we will meet them. He's really used to work with international teams, and he told me that was the best way to create connections, and because that makes all the difference after. Because we know that at some point difficult things will happen. It makes all the difference when you know the people and you already lived, even if it's small things, you have already lived something with them.
Yeah, it's totally true. I mean, that's how you build trust. It's how you build relationships. It's how you build rapport. And I think it's not an either or, it's an and.
Exactly. And so the end also is that I try to show that, and I'm very sincere when I do that, is that I have a very open vision. By open vision, I mean, I really want people to be involved in the product. My aim is not to say that, okay, product will be managed and everything, all the fun stuff will be done in Paris. I really think, and this is what I try to show and to say, that we will share the cake, basically. So I'm pretty sure that, yeah, it's the best way to do it, to say that we will build this product together. It's not because this product was done in France first that it will stay like that. And that now we need to distribute the things. And yeah, this is so connections, and also sharing a vision that involves everybody.
That's great. Now you're on a pretty aggressive growth trajectory. You're taking on new initiatives with new people in new countries, new everything.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that are unknown in that journey. How do you build conviction on the bets that you're building? And, how do you actually drive clarity that you're on the right path? Because there's so much unknown.
This is what I say, like, every time I can to my team, actually, is that I have no idea on what we will do, but I know where we need to land. And so it's all about building this path. So I have some experience now. I know that nothing will happen the way we have planned it. So we need to have this strong vision. And the vision is quite easy, actually, to understand. Is to we need to have the same product everywhere, and we want to have a great product. That's pretty basic. But how do we get there? I have no idea. But this is why also, this is how I try to build and shape my team, is with people that are comfortable with that. Like, I'm totally honest every time I speak to, because to be honest with you, I see a lot of people of my team at the moment, because they all ask me, Damien, what are we going to do? What is the future for us? what will happen to us? And I'm totally open to that. And I keep on saying that I have no idea. I know where we need to go. But we will build this path together, and because I know that on my own I won't be able to do nothing. It's all about you, but for sure that I know that you need to have this in mind, that it's a journey. We don't know how do we get there, but we need to build this journey. I see millions of reasons on how we could fail, but just try it. As I was mentioning my team, I don't know if it's a good idea to have product managers distributed everywhere. Just try it, and we will adapt and adjust if needed. But try. We don't have time to just think too much.
You have to definitely try. I always say you have to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
It's hard.
It's really
hard. It is
yeah.
necessary.
Totally agree. But you have to also know that CANAL Plus, we used to be creative people. We were still creative people. I mean, it was a TV channel in 1984, so it was a long time ago. But this company has been created by just crazy minds, people that were just trying crazy things. It has worked very well. And we still have, I would say, this DNA. We just try. So this is great. I love my company. There are so many amazing things that can happen at this company. I would say the other side, the darker side of this creativity, is that we are not always driven by data or KPI, which is good at some points. But we need to, I would say to make progress here. We have already made a lot of progress, and especially in the product team, we have made amazing progress on that. But you can still feel in the company that sometimes it's just, okay, the data tells us that not doing something, but we will try anyway, because we just want to try it. And so it's very funny. So I'm saying that because we are not always driven by the KPIs, and we just want to try things. Our CEO is like that. It's very funny to see it. It's just sometimes just like, yeah, go for it. Just try it. Let's be crazy.
Gut feel works. Embrace the crazy.
Yeah.
So how do you leverage data? If you do want to have a mix of creativity, freedom, experimentation, but you also want to make sure you're heading on the right path. Like, how does data play a role in making sure you build the right things and are serving your users in the right way?
So we have included data in our process, in our framework. I'm talking about products. So yeah, now a product manager, they have access to all the data they need. We have also a product analyst team. They work very close together. So anytime we think about new things, or we have to solve a new problem, data is part of the process. I said part of the process because it's also important. I'm referring to this craziness that is the CANAL Plus thing. It's not only about data, it's also about just like not feeling, but discussing with people, having this more qualitative insights. And it's also about, I think, when you want to have real innovation, things that has never been done, you can't only rely on data. So for me, it's about finding the right balance between your guts, it's not my guts, I mean the guts of the field, of the team, sorry, the guts, the data, what they say, what the people say also, but what we understood also about when we have discussed with people, because sometimes you say something, but you understand that it's not really what they said, it's something behind that. So for me, so this is what I always try. So when I see a product manager that is pitching a new idea or something, I just want to be sure that I see data in it. But I'm totally fine also to understand that sometimes the data doesn't say anything, or we say that it says something, but we want to try a new approach. And so this is how I would say, I don't know if it's leveraging data, but for me, it's having data always here and to know how to use it. It's not. So I love to say that we are not data driven; we are data informed. So I see I make a difference.
It's a very important distinction.
Yeah,
it's almost like you're saying you're guided by data, but you're not blinded by data.
No, yeah.
Data helps you figure out where to go, but it also doesn't, limit what you can do.
Exactly.
So another interesting aspect of what you're working on is this global mindset. We talked about global in terms of the people and who's building, but you're serving now customers in different markets, different geographies, that have different cultures. I mean, that's pretty complex. How do you think through, how you build, considering that you have people in probably like 50 different markets with different needs that probably need a different experience that's appropriate for that particular culture?
So again, I think that we definitely should discuss in 1 year, just to be sure that what I will say was right or not. If you listen to all the people that are already in the country, they say that we need different things, we are different. And it's true that when you think about a Polish customer, it's probably different from a customer from Ivory Coast. It's not probably, it is different. Like, there is a lot of things that are different. Same thing for Vietnam. So there is for me, there is two differences. There are the business that is probably different, the way you purchase, the way what you are interested in. But that's different from the UX, the experience, the product experience. The conviction I have now, because we have met testing, I will explain you how after, is that a good product, so I'm talking about UX only, experience. A good product is good everywhere. So if you have done the right work and you have crafted your product the right way in France or in Vietnam, whatever, it works. And I've seen that. So we have done some testing, for instance, in Ivory Coast. We just took our products and we show it to people in Ivory Coast, and the issues that we have seen in our product were the same that we had in France. And what was working fine was the same also that was working fine in France. Same thing in each country. So that was a relief, I would say, to say that good UX is good everywhere. After, for me, it's more about understanding the local differences that can be here. For instance, in Africa, the data plans are very expensive. And you can, maybe we got complaint of customer that in 1 day they can just use their entire data plan without thinking about it. So on these kind of specific elements, we have to think about something that are made only for specific countries. Another example so we went in Vietnam like a few weeks ago. One of the most important issue we have in Vietnam is based on the fact that you cannot rotate the screen the way you want. Today, you have to use the settings of your phone. If you are in portrait mode, the player stay in portrait mode. In Vietnam, they are crazy about that. They just want to be able to have the full screen, and they want to don't have to select any settings for that. So it's something that when you are in France, you have no idea of this kind of things. And actually, when we were in Vietnam a few weeks ago, we were in the streets and to go in a restaurant. And actually, someone of the team showed me that look at how people are using their phone. And it's true that they're outside, So it's totally different from what we do. So it's something you cannot know. So that's important to have some relay in the countries. So even if the UX is good, it's really, really important to have people that are able to tell you this is how things work, this is what people want. We tend to think very globally, and we try to do something that works for everybody. But sometimes you need to have someone that tells you, no, in Poland this is different, or in Vietnam this is not how things are working. And the only way to know that is to have people based in the country. So this is what we are trying to do now, is we can build this network of people that will help shape the product.
Interesting. And are these employees? Are they customers? Are they market researchers?
So I have a plan. So I would love to have this kind of skill, to have researchers and analysts also based locally. I will see what I can do because I don't have a unlimited budget. So I will see. Yeah, but ideally, I will have people that UX researcher and data analyst also in at least in areas, not in each country, but in Europe, Africa, and Asia. It would be great to have those kind of skills based locally, and we will try to build that.
I mean, that's definitely one of the concerns as you're scaling is you can't just multiply all your people in every market. You have to find mechanisms that work well and can work where your customers are.
Yeah. And there is also something, I'm not going to say something maybe brutal, but we can't listen to everybody. Basically, too many insights is, you can't do anything about it. So we need to find a way to be sure to understand what's different in Vietnam or in Poland or whatever, but not to have the each very little specificity. Because I think also we have to drive something. By we, I mean sometimes, we know that maybe it would be better for Polish people to have a button on the left, but it will work also if it's on the right. And at the end, it's just trying to find what is important and to have people that are able to just make the filter and to tell you what you really need to take into account and what can be just be left apart.
It's an interesting parallel, whether you're working on B2C, where your end customer is, a person, or you're working on B2B, enterprise, small business, you have customers that keep giving you feedback. And how do you really figure out what are they trying to achieve? What is important versus what is not important, and where you should prioritize? And a lot of that is making good decisions and, having the ability to really have conviction over what you do and why.
And maybe I would say not the contrary, but almost the contrary to what I've said before. This is where data actually comes in for me. We know that there is a direct correlation between the amount of time you spend watching a content in the app and the churn. So basically, the more you watch, the less you churn. It's very basic, but that's how it works. That works everywhere. The same in Asia, in Africa, and in Europe. That sounds obvious, but when you have the data to see that makes a lot of sense. So for me, this is where data is really important. It is to have those big things that you need to keep in mind, and that everything you need to do is about making people consume more and more and more. And that works everywhere. And then after, it's about just finding the little details or finding the little things that maybe eventually locally will make the difference to make you consume more. But the main insight, the main thing that you need to follow and to be sure that everything you're doing is made toward this objective. We share the same. It's about data. There is nothing to say about it. Even if you are in Africa, in Europe, or in Asia, how many time you spend in the app, we know that it's important. Whatever you watch, how many times you stay in the app is very important. And this is, based on data.
That's great. I mean, that's a good, I'll call it an aha moment of, being clear as to what drives the behaviors that you want and having that clarity.
Exactly.
Do you have any other good aha moments, like these illumination that has guided your career or your focus?
I would say, the things have changed a lot for me. So it's more personal. It's not about CANAL Plus or whatever. It's when I realized actually that no one knew what he was doing, basically. It's just about trying, staying focused, and adapting, and never giving up. But actually, I had the chance to discuss with like top managers or big entrepreneurs, and nobody know what he's doing. It doesn't mean that he has skills, or he doesn't have skills and he's doing like random stuff. Just not, they don't know. They have a plan. They try. Sometimes it works. Most of the time it fails. But they don't know. And this is something for me that has been game changer, because this is, once I have realized that, for me, this is when I've started being confident. Because I've just realized that actually it's just about trying. You won't die if you fail. You just try and you adapt eventually. But I thought at the beginning that people, like the best one, they know where they were going and why they were doing things, but actually this is not the case. Every I would say success story that you hear, it's about it's retro engineering. I would say so when you hear about success, nobody has planned to do it this way. It's just the way it happens, because like it was just the way it happens. But at the end, it has worked. So you try to analyze how things have worked, but when you speak with the people that were there, this is not how they have envisioned the things. This is just, they just live the moment. They just try to do things. So it has been a game changer for me to understand that actually nobody knows what he's doing. And what makes the difference between something that's success or fail is just, yes, try and never giving up.
That's amazing. I'm going to put that in my next performance review. I have no idea what I'm doing. I should be promoted.
Yeah. But at the end, if it works. If I talk about the top manager like CANAL+, they are extremely skilled. They are very brilliant people. That's not the topic. It's just like they don't know. If we take the case of CANAL+, like we have no idea of how we will do things, but we just want to do it and we will try. And eventually, in 5 years, we will just say, well, yeah, we made it. But there is so many things that will happen on the journey.
Well, it goes back to the thing we said earlier, which is being comfortable, being uncomfortable. Which means that you don't necessarily know, but you're comfortable trying and learning along the way.
Exactly. My favorite quote, basically, I think it's a good moment to say it. It's from Mike Tyson. Maybe you know already it. It's when he said that everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth or something like that. This is totally, it's like, just, you don't know how, you don't know when, you don't know who, but nothing will go the way you've planned it. And it's just your ability to continue to keep focused and to stay focused, and just try to do what you have in mind and go with everything that goes on the way.
So talking about getting punched, building is never easy and it's not always success. Sometimes there's these oh shit moments that happen where you didn't plan it. You got punched in the face. Tell us about one of these oh shit moments, and what was it? What did you learn from it? How did you resolve it?
So now I'm going to talk about CANAL+. We had a very collective oh shit moment. I think it was 2 years ago, something like that, when basically the platform crashed during one of the most important moments of the year. So it was during a soccer game, Champions League game, for those who know what is Champions League. The platform crashed, just dark screen for everybody. That's probably the worst nightmare, I would say, when you manage a streaming platform. So I'm not it's a collective oh shit moment, but it was a very, I would say, important moment in our company, because basically everything we said that at some point we should do it or we should fix that, but let's focus on something at the moment. This is exactly when we said we should have done it. So we've learned a lot from it. It has changed almost everything, I would say, in CANAL Tech. It's not funny, but this is when actually my manager, he was new at this role, and he was 2 months old in this new position, and 2 months after he joined the role, the worst thing happened. So it has been, I would say, now we can talk more lightly about it. But it was for him a great way, I would say, to just understand. He had the list of everything that should be fixed after that. And there were no debate about it. So, he had this list and he said, we need to fix that. Any question? No? Okay, so let's do it. So it was very, very, because you know that when you don't plan for the worst, actually, the day it happens, this is there's nothing you can do. You can see all the signs that you know that's problem A that happens, and you know probably B will happen also, and you see B happening, and it's like a long list of of things that doesn't go the right way, and it goes at some point where you have no idea of what is happening because it's becoming too deep in the tech aspect of the. So you have people talking about things that you have no idea of what they are talking about, but you just wait and you you just try to understand what happened, and you're not the only one. You have almost all the company that just like what happened. So it was a very important moment. Yes, I think we learned a lot from it. I'm talking about it because it was in the press, basically, that we couldn't hide anything. And it has started just for the funny, I would say, part of it, is that when it happened, in like 2 or 3 minutes, we became a top trending topic in Twitter.
Oh my.
So you are like, everybody's talking about your family in Twitter. That's crazy. So you realize also how important, we are not saving lives, but how important, what you're doing is for people. You have to imagine that for this kind of event, people invite other people at their home, they make dinners or bring pizza, whatever, but this is a moment, and they are just in front of a black screen, and they've paid for that. So it's more about just the app, the crash. It's about also what happened in people's life, and it was a tough moment, but very important one.
But it sounds, I mean, that you guys handled it properly, and now you're stronger as a result of it, and you built a better product by learning through an incident like that.
Yeah. That's something I hope will never happen again, but for sure, it was, we have seen everything that we need to fix. So it's not the best way to learn, I would say. Probably more smoother way to do it. But for sure, there was a before and an after.
Well, that's fantastic. Before we end, I must ask, what is your favorite show on CANAL Plus right now?
That's a very tough one because we have a lot of things. So as you can imagine, we have shows from all the companies, but I can tell you what I'm watching at the moment. So that's not a show from CANAL Plus, but we aggregate Max. So to be honest, I'm still in the Game of Thrones things. So I'm watching House of Dragons, the season 2. Now that it's finished, I binge the show.
It's a great one. It's a great recommendation.
But it has been great as we are aggregating a lot of content. I'm capable. I've discovered things that I would have never seen before, and I would say that Apple TV Plus shows are just amazing. Also, I've discovered great things. I don't know why there are not more communication on them. There is so many great shows on this platform. But this is great. What you can see with CANAL Plus is that our actually content, you have so many great content everywhere. We produce our own content, and we are doing very great stuff also. But that's I would say one of the toughest things to do in a streaming platform is you have so many content that how do you make people discover this content, and how do you ensure that you don't miss anything?
Great recommendation. Well, Damien, it's been a pleasure talking to you today. I love, one of the things I love about you is your focus on the people, on your empathy, and also your transparency on all the opportunities that are in front of us, and learning and growing together. And so really appreciate that, how you've shared those insights today, but just how you approach the job and the challenges ahead.
So let's discuss in 1 year, if you want, to see
absolutely
what has been done.
There'll be lots of success. I have no doubt about that.
I hope.
Damien, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you all for listening to Next Gen Builders. And look out for the next episode wherever you get your podcasts. And please don't forget to subscribe.